making that here as a tradition. Our intellectual attire. So, as a presidential candidate and one of the seasoned politicians of our country, we can attach you to the attire. So you have conscience and you are a Liberian and philanthropy as well. We know your record of giving. So there is a forum and now your 20 minutes starts for now.
I know when people hear you, that's what they say. Alright, the morning revolution, the 20 minutes starts. The 20 minutes will have the extra time added when it commences. We want to say things. We came here earlier on, we opened the forum today. Our Honorable His Excellency Honorable Simeon will not take the podium. He will not ginger the area a little, right? We came here earlier as an advanced team. One of the first things here today, we get a historicity of Liberians. Because some of us have existed in this kind of private business open. But this brings its funky. So this is one of the first things we came to share. Unfortunately, we don't have those until later. We saw our brother King and welcome for. So we're here today, earlier as possible. So we want to say thank you for hosting us today. It was very much difficult for the historical narrative that struck in the letter of our historicity and the forum to have come here. Now that we are here, we want to say thank you. We have here present with you about things that the whole entourage of the NPC that is the group of the here present for we have other functionaries and we have the Simeon power out there. As you know, today is now a day. Today is the Congress of Democratic Change, we will see the invitation, and also the director of the oppositional community will have to welcome the invitation because the request is necessary for now. As exemplified our Honorable Excellency's presence here today in Virginia. We are here present with our delegation, that is our Secretary General of the Movement of the Representative, Number 7, as possible. We are also here present with our most radical chairwoman, the chairperson. We are also here present with a youth chair for our party. We also here present with our county, that is Virginia County Leadership Structure, where is chair. Officers and the post of other officers in the nation. Your brother, who's one of the 10 branches of our political institution, is also here present. And we have broad presence in the county, most of media questionnaires that came into coverage live. We want to say again, thank you, our excellencies, every institution. I borrow for a person that said every partner is a potential promoter. When you beat there, some will fall for the partner, but some will survive there and end up in the port to be put as palm bottom, right? So every candidate, every presidential candidate is a good president. Oh, political capacity will put them busy. Oh, the mayor still that just what they say. Amanda, I never feel my baby. In the history of the big presence in those steps and big presence in the presidential candidate. And you know that he's loaded, he's still electorally king, and he will come up with questions. If you have any doubt, we are open to solve it and we're going to be answered. Trust me. You are a welcoming wholesale because since we came, we admire your hospitality, we showed the friendship, we admire since there were some of you in your own pocket managed to purchase up at time. We were like surprised, we should have been doing it, we were doing it. So we love the hospitality of the Virginians and we say we are welcome, we feel gratified to have you as well. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So too, we'd like to tell the media that we are high because Simeon is our father. And one of the eminent For ventilation's sake, please.
I mean, no one is. I don't see people bringing the attire. What happened after you call for it?
Yeah, the fathers working on it.
Supply the attire.
Okay.
That okay, gentlemen. Unfortunately, I don't see any lady, night dresser in politics. There were some ladies in the back. Thank you. We've come together because we have one interest, and it's the interest of Liberia. We want to see a developed Liberia. I want to see a developed Liberia. We always have a challenge who is currently in power to deliver the outcomes. The U.S. politics that is celebrated around the world. And let me just give you a parable from a businessman perspective. To my son, I gave you a house. I'm earning, say, $1 million every year. I built a house that cost $1 million. I said, my son, you big man now. So I'm giving you this house. But I actually borrowed that house money. So the house that I'm giving you, even though you live in it, but you now have to work to pay the mortgage for that house back to the bank. Am I actually giving you a house? The road that Unity Party making noise about is borrowed money. We're collecting $1.2 billion, but it's not money that is coming out of the budget to build the road. Secondly, in all of the other countries around the world, it's an issue of when you build a road, what are you really connecting? When Ellen Johnson Sirleaf was in power, see Unity Party, they built a road from Monrovia to Ghana. How many factories are in Ghana exporting to Monrovia? You have more people leaving from Lima going to stay in Monrovia. That's the thing we talk about urban migration. And the rate is about 3.1%. So we grow in Monrovia is growing by about 70,000 people every year. Yeah, when people graduate from high school, where do they want to go? To Monrovia. Nothing's happening in Nigeria. So even when the road is built, then what's next? Because the road has to pay for itself. That's why in developed economies, whether it's China, whether it's anywhere in Asia, whether it's in Europe, roads connect centers of productivity. Now, let's go back to the argument. I want to dwell on the strength. The argument about road that they keep making, that's the health in Grand Gila. The last time I visited Grand Gila, I came with the team of medical doctors and we did this operation for goiter. Goiter comes about from what the doctor said, if you have insufficient salt. So women have been isolated in rural parts. And one time I had to pay an additional $15,000 to keep the team over because there were groups of, I think about 4 or 5 women that had come from rural Grand Gila. They had walked for almost 4 days, struggled to get to Martha Totman Hospital. When it finally came, they had to go through a registration process. We kept them. That's the health system in our country. I'm sure we can speak about it. The other day I was on air in Monrovia. We've allotted $20,000 for the whole of Liberia just for curriculum development. Meanwhile, Boakai allotted $1.3 million for himself for operational special operations. Those are not the discussions they have. We are of the argument that yes, a president should have an office, but should the president's office be the executive mansion? Should we have all of these advisors that are selling cookie? These are some of the issues that are critical to our development as a nation. Many times we discuss America, we discuss China, we discuss all of these places. The growth in China is financed by the Chinese government money. Public resources are spent on private sector growth. In Ghana, right next door, Ghanaians own 70% of the economy. But how did that happen? The Ghanaian government award lots of a contract to Ghanaian businesses. So Ghanaian government money is consumed by Ghanaian businesses, and so Ghanaian businesses control the economy. In Liberia, the reverse is true. Less than 4,000 Lebanese in Liberia, and they own the economy. Follow Indian. Follow Fullers. These are not issues that are on the table for discussion. The issues that are on is, after 1 year, 1.2 billion is spent. They erect one less solar structure, then it becomes the basis for discussion. In other countries, red line is all over the place. They erect one red line, then it becomes a basis for discussion. Because an MTA bus can come from Monrovia to Grand Gila, so the government is doing well. And that's the basis for discussion. The president has to drive the vision. Just last week, I was on my way to Nairobi. President Boakai sat right in front of me in business class. And I was surprised. They gave him Coke, they gave him candy like one baby to be sucking on and drinking to activate himself, because you know sugar keeps you active. And then they gave him one little iPad to play a game. Even at that, he fell asleep. And this is the man who is supposed to run us for the next 6 years, and they have the audacity to say, give him another 6 years. So interestingly, the arguments that they brought are not arguments that are sustainable. What do we really need? We need factories in our country. We need industries in this country. The industries will create the jobs that you need, the jobs in Grand Gila, the jobs in Maryland, the jobs in Barclayville. You have lots of potential. Many times when people discuss Liberia, what do they discuss? Mines. I'm not discussing mining, because we have not had a mining school in Liberia for I don't know when, and Liberians don't have mining experience. The last set of people that work with Lamco and bomb mines, they're all in the 80s. So you don't have that experience. I want to discuss agriculture. Agriculture is extremely important. The things you overlook. Banana is a money maker. Countries are making hundreds of millions of dollars from exporting banana that you overlook. I want to discuss that. What can we convert banana into the multiple products? What's about the cassava? There is so much we can do with the crops that we have to create the jobs for our people in places like Grand Gila, in places like River G, in places like Grand Cru, in Sino, and all these things. And what do other countries do? Other countries say, in other countries, what do they do? Other countries create incentives. When you see President Trump travel, look at his trip to China, a recent trip. I'm sure you watched the news here. A lot of the members of the delegation were who? Business people. When Boakai travels, their girlfriends, ambassadors. Look, I'm a businessman. If I have to invest in a country, I've invested in other countries. When I had to invest, it was not the Minister of Trade that told me to invest. It was another businessman that told me to invest.
Hello, please. Eminent Liberian is speaking. Please, beg you, please, protect against speaker. The man who is here is not an ordinary man. Please.
Okay, so let's go. It's like that.
When you use the reach out, getting you by funding 75 US.
So we have a system where Boakai is promoting politicians. Boakai has the most number of advisors than any other president I've ever had. And because you just have lots of bodyguards around you and you're not paying them properly, what are they going to do? They're going to start misbehaving. So now today, Liberia is wrapped up in a major cocaine case. Absolutely nobody can be arrested. And the same people are facilitating that. In order for us to create the environment here, we have to ensure the business community is prioritized. Since this government came to power, they cannot show you when they have identified public funds for private sector investment. Because those things are not happening, the compensation for Grand Jida will be, oh, we constructed one road. And then in the end, like the time of Madam Salif, the almost $1 billion that we owe, the $260-something million that we borrow to build a road from Monrovia to Ganta, Grand Jida is still paying. Grand Crew is still paying. So let nobody come with this whole concept and argument of rule. What we actually need in this county and in many of the other southeastern parts are industries. The next and final thing, in many countries, when you go to invest, they say, look, we give you the whole list of incentives. Imagine if we turn this entire southeastern region and say, if you establish a factory here, we give you 10 years duty-free, we give you 10 years if you import a certain raw material to add value, anybody from anywhere in the world will come and settle. And we have all of the jobs that we need to create in this part of in this part of the country to create the wealth that needs to be created. Outside of that, you're just going to dance with the talk, empty promises. We're going to have our young women being pregnant. The fathers will be running away not because they are irresponsible, but because they don't have the means. And you're going to have the societal challenges that result with a lot of wayward youth resulting. And we don't want that for our country. Thank you so much. We're now listening for your question.
Thank you very much. You get heard a little declaration from our eminent Liberian in President. You see on Simeon 2029, it is a question. You just listen to him. If you put in, if you have comments, questions, so we like to take Grace Tere.
So one question the government was invited to create the location, inviting the now, the question to you is this: is it collaborating with
Okay, so we after the problem we take at least 4 million as what's not going to the London, we take Ethiopia.
I'm on the one now. Really give me one fan.
those are things and you never so I'm going to say thank you. Like I'm putting just as we will need people like you to rally around today you grace the location of the city. Just the power. And then I want to do your operation analysis. And for any reason that President Biya appeared on the ballot. And then President Boakai appeared on the ballot. In terms of what of elections, looking at we are at this setup, that many all of these pathway, who are you going to support? And on what basis are you going to support?
Okay, who are you going to support? So, should we say increase the question or you want to respond? So if you are responding, please respond in 2 minutes. Because you still want to ask questions. Please, hello.
But you also answer the question. So yes, we're invited to attend the citizen meeting. But there's something I want you to understand. The CDC government for the Unity Party to go forward. The MPC one, the Unity Party to go forward. The objective is to ensure that the Unity Party is guiding the country don't have access to power. So for that, yes, we are collaborating to realize the goal of ensuring that black people. You asked the question of if Boakai and Leah was on the ballot, who will I support? So your question assumes that I'm not contesting. So if I'm not contesting, then I shouldn't come here. In a runner. So your question then assumes that I may not be in the runner.
Okay, so thank you. Hello. So we still to the press, we wait. We tell our Lima Perry, when we show you how we are developing all around Nigeria. 1 minute, 30 seconds, please.
Don't train my man, why you there? Why you got me
Yeah, also, I appreciate you for attending this. So, I guess very keen to get it. While we're listening to the third minister, I was talking about a better budget. But our question is to the government. So if you become president, would you come back? Our Liberian people and talk about the fact trade-off budget that our people have benefited.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. So we go on to the co-moderator. The co-moderator who has a question. So please tell me. So you're moving to the press.
Respected President, while being relevant to this week, they point out actually one infrastructure to the government. Number two, look at the business community. He said look at the business community. Number issue like scholarship to the student community. How they put to be on to those faculty in society. This is my question. So let me just take the 2 points. So I'll start from that and I'll go there. So I will list of some things that you're Christian. If I post, I prefer to post in the law. So I just told you as I was speaking that I'm there a team of medical doctors listed at the time we had Como, we came there, we provided free surgical operation. I give it scholarship across the country. But does that qualify me to be president of Liberia? No. And that's why we list these things. And that's why we deal with we need a smarter. Because you take back a rent to a woman hug and you told her you want her, doesn't mean she will love for you. She will eat your rest or she will eat your mama and stay like that because she doesn't think you the better for her.
Pas même pas ça. Bon, on se fait pas dans ça. On n'a pas de chief, pas on ça. Qui parle de
It's a serious job. The man who is president must first show that he has redeemed himself from poverty to be able to take you out of poverty. But most of the people, look at Boakai couldn't even say inside the hospital. Then you take the whole country, you give it to him. And you say, Boakai, even though you could not take yourself out of poverty, now come and take us out of poverty. So you see how we start? So, We're not going to get there. So these things are two. I've given so much, I've given millions of dollars alone. Even now that I'm here, I'm going to spend a lot of money around. Give money to the marketing people, give money this way, but I'm not qualified to be president. What qualifies me is the fact that Simeon Fremont come from poverty. My man started in the 10th grade. I dropped out of high school, 9th grade, because my mom didn't have money. Somebody felt sorry for me, paid my way through high school. When I got out of high school, I went to school in the US, I got master's. I paid my whole way through college. I started from poverty, selling on the streets of Monrovia to become wealthy. Never worked for government, I built private wealth. I have lots of property in Liberia and elsewhere across Africa. So I have shown that I'm hustler. So with that spirit, and I take it to national government, I'm willing to change things around. Not just that, I'm highly educated and I'm serving Africa.